Hey guys, welcome back. This is Eliot's Excel exercises. Today we're talking about the if formula. This is probably my favorite and most versatile formula out there for trying to see if anything is true or false. Hey guys, Eliot here. Just want to let you know down in the description I have a Dropbox link. You can head there and download each of the sheets I use for my videos. They come with a blank slate so you can practice the formulas as I'm teaching them alongside with the video. Hope you enjoy and thanks for watching. So let's get started. Here we have our normal account information. We have our totals down here at the bottom. And you'll notice I have a new column here called is paid with a question mark. So let's look over our notes for a second. We have our if formula, get results with specific criteria. You can basically ask the formula to check anything you want to check. It's very broad because you're not locked down to maybe a sum if or a count if or anything like that. It's just if something, right? It's whatever you want it to tell you. Continuing down, we have a count if. Later on in this video, we're going to show you how you can match an if formula and use a countif to count. That'll be for later on. Text in formulas. So you can use a double quotation to indicate text within a formula. Again, we'll show this as we go along. Updating screen. As values change within the data set, the formulas will update automatically. So basically, anytime you can hit enter, tab, if you go into a cell, you change a formula, or if you change one little thing inside the formula, once you hit enter again, every formula on your page will recalculate. More often than not, it's just the one that changes, but we can see later on how changing one formula can cascade down and change a lot of different formulas. Operators. Operators are very common in if formulas, and what they are is you have the greater than, the less than, the equal, the not equal, greater than or less than, and equal, stuff like that. Another big part is remembering out of your whole sheet which cells have formulas in them. It can get pretty hectic later on, and with more advanced stuff, definitely remember which cells you have formulas in them, because if you forget and you type over a cell that has a formula in it, Excel's not going to stop you. It's going to think you're just overwriting the information in that cell. The show formulas, of course, you can always show if a cell has a formula in it by either hitting F2, I'll do that here, or you can just double click it. And really all that does is bring it into editing mode, but it does bring up the formula right there. The third option I didn't write down in the notes is if you can just click the cell up here in the formula bar, you'll see that of course there's a formula in there, versus let's say I go over to this first amount, it's just a flat number, right? It's just there, there's no formula in it. Another thing too is you can show all of the formulas on the sheet all at once, right? I haven't had too many uses for this, but it is good to know, just in case maybe you got a foreign sheet from somebody, right? You got emailed something, you want to look at it, but you really don't know where to start. And if it's maybe like a balance sheet or something like that, right? You need to know like where the formulas are in order to get to work or in order to validate, stuff like that. And you can show all the formulas on the sheet with either an option, or you can use this shortcut key that I wrote here. I'm not going to do it right now. We'll do it as we go along. So let's get started. Is paid. Right now it's blank. The first thing I want to try to do is equals if. We have a few ifs here and we'll get to them a little bit later. Hit tab on that. And here's your logical test. So logical test is more often than not, this is where you use your operators, right? Is this equal to this, or is this greater than that? Something like that. So right now, my question that I want, that I titled the column with, I put the header on the column, is it paid? So I need to know if something is paid. What indicator, logically speaking, what indicator on the sheet shows that it might be paid? So we have the amount, we have the coverage paid, and we have the balance. Well, if the balance is 0, that means it's paid, right? So let's start off with that. If our balance, just click the cell, is equal to 0, in other words, it has a 0 balance, or it is paid, what we want to do is comma. So what this right here is value if true. What do we want the cell to show if it's true? And right here, I want to do double quotation. Yes, it's paid. And finish that off. And the comma again on the third one is value if false. So what do you want it to say if it's not paid? I want it to say no. Very simple formula, can be very powerful formula. So I'm going to show you that now. Go ahead and hit enter. Right here we have a yes. Yes, it's paid because yes, this is 0. And this is 0 because of the coverage paid. So if this coverage paid wasn't here, the balance would not be 0, and therefore the formula would say no. So that's a little bit what I mean about how the formulas can kind of cascade all around the sheet as long as you're referencing all the same different ones. So the next thing we want to do is take this and drag it down to the end of our sheet. And that'll copy the formula all the way down. Notice I didn't lock any of the cells. The G4 I didn't lock because we wanted the G4 to keep moving down. G5, G6, G7. You can see that here. So you got G5, G6, all the way down. So here we have a few yeses. Yes, yes. We got a yes down here. We got all the no's in between. So this looks pretty similar to last week's video. We have the count blank. So essentially, the count blank told us that all of these cells are blank right here. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out now. As you notice, all of the blanks means there's no coverage paid. There was nothing paid. And well, if there's no coverage paid, that means we still have a balance right next to it, right? And if we still have a balance, all we have in the formula is the answer no. So it's all kind of like mimics itself in a way. It kind of just depends on how you want to present your information. For here, I like to have the yes and the no's. It's very simple and it might seem a little elementary, but it is very easy. I can go and throw a filter on this and sort by no, right? And if it's no, then I know this customer, this account, whatever it is, didn't pay yet. So then maybe if you're like a collector, you know to, okay, go hound this person to give you your money, right? If they owe their money. Or vice versa, you can go to yes and say like, these are the accounts that I finished this week, or maybe this month, or these are the accounts that always pay on time, or something like that, right? So it's very powerful in terms of information and in terms of reporting. So earlier, remember I told you that we're going to use a Countif to show how many of each one we have. So I already wrote the formula in for you, but right here you have a 3 and the 18, and what these are is total yes results and total no results. Again, if you remember from last video, we have a count A formula would show us on the coverage paid how many are filled in. We have the 3, right? And a count blank would show us how many are not filled in. So we have the 18, right? So again, it kind of mimics the if formula. If it's paid, yes. If it's not, no. We get the same 3 and 18 interaction. So right here, before I wanted to show you updating screen, right? So here it is. We're basically done with the formula. It's the easiest formula. It's the easiest version of the formula you can be using. Of course, these if formulas can become quite large. They actually allow you to take the formula bar and stretch it out a little bit like this, just in case your formula goes and goes and goes, right? But we're definitely not at that level yet. So I wanted to show you the updating screen. So let's say, just out of testing this, right? Let's use this last person, this 22,000 account on 11/9. They finally decided to pay. So what did they pay? They paid 1,277,714.71 cents. So watch very carefully. I want you to see a few different cells. So before I hit enter on that, I want to show you something. This cell, this, and this. Keep an eye on these. Oh, that's ugly. Keep an eye on these. These will change when I put one simple number in this one cell in F24. So let's go ahead and write that again just so I can show you. Once I hit tab on this, it's going to put the number, the negative number, in the coverage paid, and watch all of the other cells that I just highlighted. Okay, so here, what do you notice? We have a balance is now equal to 0. We have the is paid turned from no to yes, right? Because now this is 0. Now that this is yes, we have a total yes results went from 3 to 4. And our total no results went from 18 to 17. So putting in one little number, well, maybe not so little, but one number can change essentially an entire sheet worth of data, right? So that's the updating screen. Operators, I briefly went over that in the formula. We have the equals here. We can test that out by doing more than, right? More than or less than, something like that. But since it's just a balance thing and we want to see if the balance is 0, I'm going to keep it equals for now. So the remembering, I want to show you that, let's say you go in and you do this process manually, right? You look at your coverage paid and someone gave you this sheet and it said is paid. Yes. So let's just write yes in here. It's yes. Well, nothing else on the sheet changed. We still have our 4 here. We still have our 17. We have all of our yes and no's right here. But just looking at it, you wouldn't know which ones were formulas and which ones were not. And maybe I'm new to Excel. I didn't know any better. And I just typed in yes. You can just type in text in a cell. That's no problem with that. You don't have to use a formula or you don't have to use a number. You can just type in yes, but you wouldn't know that it's affecting the formulas. So what if I change this coverage paid? It's not going to change the yes. It's just going to keep it yes because it's text. It's static text. That's not a dynamic formula. I'm going to delete this coverage paid just to show you what it did, and well, our balance went back to normal. Well, should I say a full balance? And our is paid is still yes. So this can be frustrating to some people because I just typed in yes without knowing. Again, what if this was like a foreign sheet? What if this was emailed to me? And I just decided to type yes, or I decided to type no, right? Or I accidentally deleted the formula, but I didn't realize it was a formula. So then I just typed in the answer, right? I know the answer is yes, but I want the formula to tell me the answer is yes because the formula is dynamic. If something else changes, the formula will then accommodate that change. So I'm going to put this back to what it was. If this is equal to 0, I want it to say yes. And if not, I want it to say no. I'm going to put that back, and now the formula is fine again. Again, nothing changed on just if you're looking at it, right? You still have your 4, you still have your 17, but at least we know that that formula is back to normal. So to show the formulas again, like I said before, you can double click, you can look at them like this, you can hit F2 to look at them like this. But what if I wanted to see every formula on the page? So this is gonna make the page stretch out a little bit. Just bear with me while I do it. The shortcut key for that is the Control, and right up next to your number 1 key, you have the tilde key, and you have the little apostrophe thing. Go ahead and hit Control that, and watch what it does. It completely stretched out the screen, but now we can see every cell with the formula in them. If you notice these cells right here, none of these look like they had formulas in them. But I do notice the dates entered kind of turned into this weird Julian number, right? This is the number that Excel thinks the date is, right? And if you type in this number and format it to date, it'll look like an actual date. Again, down here, you have your amount was a sum formula. You have your coverage paid was a sum formula. Your balance was a sum formula. All of the cells in your balance were sum formulas. And if I move a little bit over, I have all of my formulas in the is paid. I have my Countif formulas down here. So this can really show you which cells have the formulas in them if you're looking at maybe a bite-sized sample, right? Because if you do this to like a gigantic sheet, it could be pretty overwhelming. But as a small snapshot screen like we have here in these tutorials, I can very easily show you which cells have the formulas in them. So go ahead and do that again, Control and then that key, and we're back to normal, right? We're back to our normal bite-sized screenshot of a balance sheet, right? That's basically it with the if function. I know that was a lot. Go ahead and take your time with this. I hope you learned a lot. If anything was confusing, let me know down in the comments. I'd suggest probably just watch the video again, or go skip around to certain parts that maybe you didn't understand. But yeah, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, put that bell notification on for me, and I'll see you next time. See ya.